We are constantly feeding ourselves a very comforting lie. We look around at our towering steel cranes, our laser-guided precision tools, and our artificial intelligence, and we arrogantly declare that the 21st century is the absolute, undisputed peak of human civilization. We genuinely believe we can build anything. But if you strip away the modern arrogance and look deep into the dust of our ancient past, you will find a truth that is deeply unsettling. Our so-called primitive ancestors left behind architectural blueprints and physical monuments that actively defy the known laws of physics. These are not just crude piles of old rocks. These are monumental engineering nightmares that would make today's most advanced, billion-dollar machinery simply break down and surrender. Today, we are permanently destroying the myth of the primitive ancient world. We are going to examine 6 sci-fi architectural marvels from the deep past that modern technology absolutely cannot replicate. And listen closely, because this journey escalates violently. What begins with an impossible, gravity-defying carving hanging in the desert air will rapidly spiral down into a dark, subterranean acoustic weapon designed to literally hack the human brain. Every single site we visit is far more complex, dangerous, and scientifically impossible than the one right before it. If you are ready to completely shatter the timeline of human history, drop a quick 0 in the comments right now to let me know you are strapped in. Let us step into the impossible. We just established that the ancient world was far from primitive. If you still think modern machines will always be superior to ancient minds, drop a quick one in the comments right now, because your entire perspective is about to change. Let us begin by traveling deep into the blistering, sun-baked deserts of Jordan. I want you to walk through a narrow, towering gorge of solid rock until the canyon suddenly opens up, forcing you to look straight up. Towering an unbelievable 40 meters into the sky, carved directly into the blood-red sandstone cliff face, is the legendary temple of Al-Khazna in Petra. At first glance, it is a magnificent piece of art, but the true terror and awe of this structure lie entirely in how it was built. When modern construction crews build a towering 40-meter monument, they start firmly on the ground. They pour a deep foundation, erect massive steel scaffolding, and carefully build their way up to the sky. The ancient Nabatean artisans did the exact, impossible opposite. They started at the very top of the mountain and carved their way down. Imagine the sheer, unparalleled insanity of this architectural gamble. These ancient workers were suspended in mid-air, dangling precariously against a sheer, unforgiving cliff face. They possessed absolutely no steel support structures, no heavy lifting cranes, and definitely no digital 3D scanners. Armed with nothing but basic hand tools and raw courage, every single strike of the hammer and chisel was a literal life or death wager. This was a subtractive building process. If a modern builder makes a mistake, they simply swap out a bad brick. But for the builders of Petra, one single millimeter of miscalculation, one chisel strike that went just a fraction too deep, or one unexpected fracture in the brittle sandstone would have shattered the entire facade permanently. You cannot put a mountain back together once you break it. Yet, the final result is a monument of absolute, terrifying perfection. The spatial accuracy and geometric symmetry achieved here are so incredibly flawless that modern structural engineers literally break into a cold sweat just trying to analyze it. To maintain perfect proportions, straight columns, and intricate floral details while hanging vertically and carving blindly downward into solid rock requires a level of spatial awareness that borders on superhuman. We simply cannot do it today without advanced computer mapping. How did an isolated desert civilization calculate such flawless downward geometry without a single modern instrument? And what masterful, gravity-defying carving techniques were ultimately swallowed forever by the unforgiving sands of time? We just left the terrifying, vertical cliffs of Jordan where one single mistake meant absolute destruction. Now, we must drastically slow our heart rate down and step into the heavy, humid stillness of the jungle. But before we enter this ancient swamp, I want to know exactly where my American viewers are tuning in from today. Drop a quick comment telling me your exact United States location and the current time on your clock right now, so we can see how far this ancient journey reaches across America. Now, let us travel deep into the dense, overgrown rainforests of Southeast Asia. Hidden within the humid environment of Cambodia sits a monument so unbelievably massive that it challenges our basic understanding of geology. This is Angkor Wat. When you stand before this sprawling complex, you are looking at a staggering volume of solid sandstone that is actually far heavier than the Great Pyramid of Giza. But the absolute genius of Angkor Wat is not found in its towering spires or its intricate surface carvings. The true miracle lies directly beneath your feet in the dark earth. The entire sprawling megatemple is resting directly on top of a continuously shifting, highly unstable liquid mud swamp. By all known laws of modern structural engineering, this crushing dead weight should have violently collapsed and sunk deep into the muddy abyss many centuries ago. Instead, Angkor Wat stands completely immortal and perfectly balanced in the silent forest. How is this physically possible? Rather than trying to stubbornly fight the overwhelming power of nature with brute force and deep concrete pillars, the brilliant ancient Khmer engineers decided to completely tame the earth itself. They achieved this by designing a massive, flawlessly calculated subterranean moat system that entirely surrounds and intertwines with the deep foundation of the temple. They harnessed the natural groundwater and utilized immense hydrostatic pressure to literally float millions of tons of solid rock upward against the relentless pull of gravity. They built a colossal, naturally operating hydrological machine out of sheer mud and water. When the brutal dry season arrives and the surrounding soil begins to shrink, the meticulously engineered moats release their stored water back into the earth, preventing the sand from collapsing. When the violent monsoon rains flood the region, the underground system absorbs the excess water, preventing the massive stone monument from washing away. It is an absolutely perfect, self-sustaining aquatic engine that has kept a towering mountain of solid stone floating seamlessly for well over a millennium. What utterly brilliant ancient minds conceived such a flawless understanding of hydrostatic physics, and how did they manage to perfectly balance millions of tons of rock on a bed of liquid mud without a single modern mathematical instrument? We just left the quiet, heavy stillness of a floating stone temple in the swamp. Now, we are heading back to solid ground, and things are about to get incredibly violent and loud. If you are enjoying this journey into the impossible, please take one brief second to hit that like button to support the channel. Travel with me to the freezing, windswept expanse of the Salisbury Plain in England. Here stands the legendary and brutal puzzle known as Stonehenge. Most people look at these massive rocks and only see a primitive circular calendar. But look much closer. We are talking about lifting solid sarsen stones that weigh a staggering 25 tons each. Simply dragging these monsters across the harsh landscape and standing them upright is a terrifying physical achievement. But the true, mind-bending mystery of Stonehenge absolutely does not lie in the vertical pillars. The ultimate secret is hiding right on the roof. Look carefully at the heavy horizontal lintel stones resting across the very top. They are not just resting there under the sheer weight of gravity. They are physically, permanently locked together. The ancient builders utilized a highly complex interlocking method known as mortise and tenon joints. In modern construction, this is a highly specific, incredibly delicate technique strictly reserved for master carpenters working with soft wood. You carve a protruding peg on one piece and a perfectly matching hole in the other piece so they snap together seamlessly like puzzle pieces. But the builders of Stonehenge applied this delicate woodworking precision to ultra-hard, raw megalithic stone. Try to truly comprehend the sheer, brutal violence required to accomplish this feat. These ancient engineers possessed no steel drill bits, no diamond-tipped saws, and absolutely no heavy machinery. They were armed entirely with primitive, rounded stone hammers. Yet, they somehow managed to smash, grind, and carve perfectly matching millimeter-exact locking joints into 25-ton rocks suspended high in the air. The sheer brawn required to execute this, combined with absolute mathematical precision, creates an impossible architectural paradox. It is a savage masterpiece of ancient materials, science that makes absolutely no logical sense for the Neolithic time period. Why did these ancient builders go to such agonizing, back-breaking lengths to permanently lock these massive stones together against the open sky? What terrifying, brute force methodology did they possess that modern structural science has completely failed to decode? And what exactly were they trying to build that required such an indestructible, interlocking cage of solid rock? We just witnessed the loud, brutal violence of the interlocking stones in England. Now, we must leave the harsh daylight behind and step down into absolute, freezing darkness. If you are captivated by these ancient mysteries so far, drop a quick 3 in the comments right now to let me know. Travel with me to the quiet, emerald green hills of County Meath in Ireland. Here, slumbering peacefully beneath the thick grass and earth, lies the ancient subterranean tomb of Newgrange. This sprawling circular structure is incredibly old. It was constructed over 5,000 years ago, meaning it actually predates the Great Pyramid of Giza by several centuries. But unlike the towering monuments of Egypt that aggressively reach up for the stars, Newgrange hides its true terrifying genius deep underground inside a pitch-black, freezing stone chamber. The internal architecture alone is an absolute marvel of ancient engineering. The builders constructed a massive overlapping stone dome using a highly complex corbelled roof technique. They stacked massive, raw rocks so perfectly without utilizing any modern cement, mortar, or chemical sealant that for 5,000 long years, not a single drop of rainwater has ever penetrated the inner chamber. It is a perfectly sealed, freezing void of total silence. But the true architectural masterpiece of Newgrange is not just keeping the harsh weather out. It is about letting a very specific cosmic element inside. For 364 days of every single year, this subterranean tomb is completely swallowed by suffocating, unbroken darkness. You wait in the freezing cold, surrounded by absolute blackness. Then, the entire universe seemingly holds its breath as the cosmos perfectly aligns. Exactly on the freezing dawn of the winter solstice, the absolute shortest day of the entire year, a solitary beam of golden sunlight perfectly threads the needle through a tiny, mathematically engineered slit above the main entrance known as the roof box. This single, brilliant beam of light creeps slowly down the dark stone passageway and brilliantly illuminates the entire central chamber in a blinding golden glow. This highly calculated, breathtaking display of cosmic light lasts for exactly 17 minutes before the sun shifts its angle, and the tomb is instantly plunged back into total, undisturbed darkness for another entire year. It is a literal cosmic time machine built entirely out of raw stone. How did these ancient humans, possessing absolutely no optical telescopes, digital clocks, or advanced written mathematics, perfectly lock the complex orbital mechanics of our solar system into a silent stone void? How did they manage to precisely align this heavy megalithic structure to capture a fleeting solar event with absolute, uncompromising perfection without a single millisecond of error? We just emerged from the freezing, pitch-black depths of the cosmic Irish tomb, leaving the darkness behind for the blistering, bright daylight. Now, we are heading out into the brutal heat of the African savanna. If you are still with me on this unbelievable, mind-bending journey, drop a quick 5 in the comments right now to let me know you are still here. Leave the freezing cold behind and travel with me deep into the wild, sun-baked plateau of southern Africa. Here, rising majestically out of the rugged, untamed landscape, is a massive stone metropolis that completely shatters centuries of stubborn historical bias. Welcome to the sprawling, silent ruins of Great Zimbabwe. At the very heart of this ancient city lies the Great Enclosure, featuring massive, continuous stone walls that wind elegantly like a giant stone snake. These immense barriers reach an impressive 11 meters high into the sky and are an incredibly dense 5 meters thick at their base. This was no primitive settlement. It was a staggering megacity constructed from millions of individual granite blocks, built to house thousands of people in a highly organized, bustling society. But the absolute miracle of Great Zimbabwe is completely invisible at first glance. There is absolutely zero mortar, no cement, and no chemical adhesive holding this towering, impenetrable fortress together. These brilliant ancient builders mastered an architectural technique known as dry stone construction, but they elevated it to a terrifying level of absolute perfection. Millions of ultra-hard, multi-sided granite blocks were painstakingly quarried, carved, and meticulously stacked. The sheer crushing weight and natural friction of the stones are the only things holding these massive walls perfectly in place. The execution is so impossibly precise, and the geometric stacking so flawlessly calculated, that these jagged stones fit together so tightly you cannot even slide a thin razor blade between them today. Keep in mind exactly what they were working with. Granite is one of the most incredibly dense and unforgiving stones on the entire planet. Carving millions of these blocks into razor-sharp, interlocking polygonal shapes without modern steel chisels, industrial lasers, or diamond-tipped saws is an agonizing, mind-numbing task. Yet they accomplish this on a truly monumental scale, engineering beautifully curved, sweeping walls that have bravely and stubbornly withstood the brutal elements of the African continent for nearly 1,000 years. When early European explorers first stumbled upon these towering granite walls, they were completely blinded by their own arrogance. They flatly refused to believe that indigenous African builders could have possibly constructed such a mathematically flawless structural masterpiece. But the irrefutable, awe-inspiring truth stands proudly in the sun. Who were the visionary master architects that successfully organized this flawless, city-sized jigsaw puzzle of solid granite? And why was this unbelievably advanced dry stone masonry completely abandoned to the silent winds of history? We just left the bright, blistering sun and the towering, unbreakable walls of Great Zimbabwe. But you are still here with me for the final descent, and I must sincerely praise your unwavering dedication. Navigating these impossible historical anomalies takes a sharp intellect, and making it to this terrifying climax proves you have a genuinely curious mind. If you are watching right now and appreciating this incredible deep dive into our forbidden past, please drop a 6 in the comments below so I know all this intense research and hard work was not wasted. Now, prepare yourself for the absolute climax of our journey. We are leaving the warmth and the daylight behind forever. We are traveling to the small Mediterranean island of Malta to descend deep into a suffocating, subterranean nightmare. Welcome to the hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Forget everything you know about grand monuments built to honor the gods. This is not a towering temple reaching for the stars, nor is it a floating fortress. It is a deeply claustrophobic, 3-level underground labyrinth carved entirely out of solid, unyielding limestone. Just standing in these twisting corridors is enough to induce panic. The ceilings press down heavily upon you, and just breathing in the heavy, stagnant air feels deeply oppressive. While the raw physical excavation of this massive dark maze using only primitive stone tools is a highly impressive feat of sheer endurance, the architecture is absolutely not the main attraction. The true, terrifying genius of the hypogeum is entirely invisible to the naked eye. It is completely hidden in the very air itself. This claustrophobic underground complex is actually a massive, flawlessly tuned acoustic machine intentionally designed to physically manipulate the human brain. Deep within the second level of this pitch-black maze, hidden away from the surface world, lies a highly specific, meticulously carved alcove known as the Oracle Chamber. Step inside this heavy stone room and listen closely to the silence. If a high-pitched voice speaks, the sound is absorbed into the rock completely normally. But if a deep, resonant baritone male voice speaks at a very specific pitch, something absolutely terrifying happens. The sound violently and aggressively amplifies. The audio waves furiously bounce and reflect off the mathematically curved limestone walls, creating a booming, overwhelming physical resonance that literally shakes the entire cavern and vibrates violently through human bone and tissue. Modern acoustic scientists recently brought highly advanced audio mapping equipment down into the dark to study this bizarre anomaly. What they discovered genuinely shocked the international scientific community. The exact resonant frequency generated inside this subterranean chamber is perfectly tuned to exactly 110 Hz. Why is that specific number so incredibly terrifying to researchers today? Because modern neuroscientists have definitively proven that exposing the human brain to a constant tone of exactly 110 Hz directly interferes with the prefrontal cortex. It forcibly alters human brainwave activity, temporarily shutting down the logical processing centers of the brain. It artificially triggers deep, inescapable trance states, overwhelming feelings of paralyzing dread, and intense, incredibly vivid visual hallucinations. The ancient builders of Malta did not just carve dead rock. They actively utilized highly advanced mathematical acoustics and pure physics to literally hack human consciousness. They created a permanent underground laboratory of dark science designed to forcefully bend human perception and completely control the minds of anyone who entered. This was an ancient acoustic weapon built entirely to dominate the psyche. Why did an ancient, supposedly isolated island civilization possess the profound neurological and acoustic knowledge required to construct a functioning mind control chamber? What deeply disturbing, hallucination-inducing rituals actually took place in that suffocating darkness, and what other terrifying, forgotten sciences did our ancestors perfect before they were completely swallowed by the earth? From the gravity-defying vertical cliffs of Petra to the terrifying, mind-altering acoustic chambers of the hypogeum, we have journeyed through an ancient world that completely shatters our modern arrogance. We sit high in our fragile glass towers, staring blindly at digital screens, entirely convinced that human progress is a perfect, uninterrupted upward line. We confidently declare ourselves the absolute peak of civilization. But the silent, immortal stones of our ancestors tell a vastly different, far more haunting story. They prove that our distant past was not a primitive dark age, but a forgotten era of unparalleled engineering genius. If these impossible architectural marvels have shifted your perspective on human history today, please take a brief moment to subscribe to the channel right now so we can continue uncovering the forbidden, hidden chapters of our timeline together. These ancient monuments force us to reevaluate everything we know. True technological advancement might not actually mean building taller skyscrapers, creating faster digital machines, or extracting more resources. True mastery, exactly as demonstrated by the floating stone temples of Angkor Wat and the flawless cosmic precision of Newgrange, is about possessing a profound, completely lost harmony with the earth, gravity, and the universe itself. The ancients built their world for eternity. We simply build for tomorrow. As our modern, machine-built world inevitably rusts, cracks, and decays over the coming millennia, we are forced to look into the mirror and ask ourselves a deeply unsettling question. When the dust of our civilization finally settles, will any of our proud modern marvels actually survive 5,000 years to challenge the minds of tomorrow? Or will we simply fade quietly into the dark earth, completely outlasted and overshadowed by the immortal stone masterpieces of the ancient world?